Hey y'all. So today's lesson is about the distance and midpoint formulas. These are two formulas that you have to know for your 8th grade EOG, and they have to do with 2 points. You need 2 points. So before, if you had a coordinate plane and you had 2 points, let's say here and here, and it asked you for the distance of those 2 points, then what we did was we set up a right triangle, and then we did the Pythagorean theorem, and this was C. We did the Pythagorean theorem to find C, and that's how you found the distance. Now there is a formula that I'm showing you to find the distance of 2 points. So here's the distance formula. D distance equals the square root of x minus x squared plus y minus y squared. So it's really long and it's big, but it's kind of like the Pythagorean theorem. The Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and then at the end you have to take the square root. So the square root, and then this is your adding together, kind of like your a and your b. And so the a represents x minus x. So there's the square and the square and the square root. So the distance formula is derived from the Pythagorean theorem. You're going to have 2 points, a, x and y, b, x and y. And whenever you have words that say like how far apart, that's going to be the distance formula. The midpoint is the middle or the center of a line. So if you have 2 points, the midpoint is going to be the center of that. And the way you find the midpoint is the middle is kind of like the average. You add them together and you divide by 2. So you add your x values together, divide by 2. You add your y values together and you divide by 2. So the midpoint formula is going to be this one right here. And when you're trying to find the center or the middle, then you're going to use the midpoint formula. All right, copy these down. Find the distance of AB, and then I gave you the distance formula right here. X minus x squared, y minus y squared, and then the square root. So for example A, you have 2, 5, negative 1, negative 3, and I've already labeled them for you x, y, x, y. Then you just put them into the proper spot into our formula. So x minus x, so 2 minus negative 1, x minus x squared plus, and then y, 5, minus negative 3. Now when you go, you can type this in your calculator, and 2 minus negative 1 is going to be 3 squared, and then 5 minus negative 3 is going to be 8 squared. So what I've done is I've typed this into my calculator, 2 minus negative 1 and 5 minus negative 3. Then I'm going to square them both, and I get 9 plus 64. 9 plus 64 is 73. And then you have to take the square root of 73. So the square root button is the second function of the x squared. So the square root of 73. And the distance is about, because we're rounding, 8.5. So again, you type it in, you plug the numbers in, and then you just continue to simplify, and then you take the square root. Let me show you another one. We have A is 4, 2, and B is 0, 4. And then I've already labeled them x, y, x, y. We're going to plug them in. So x minus x, 4 minus 0, and then y minus y, 2 minus 4. I need to simplify. 4 minus 0 is 4, plus 2 minus 4 is negative 2. And we talked about parentheses before. You need to make sure you include your parentheses, especially with the negatives. If you do not, that negative will end up messing you up. We need to take the square root of 4 squared is 16. Negative 2 squared is negative 2 times negative 2, which is a positive 4. That is the square root of 20. So the distance is about the square root of 20, which is about 4.5. And so I'm rounding to the nearest tenth. All right, copy these down. So C, we're going to take the square root of x minus x plus y minus y. And then we just simplify. 4 minus negative 3 is going to be 7 squared. Negative 2 minus 5 is going to be negative 7 squared. And again, you want to keep your parentheses. 7 squared is 49. Negative 7 squared is also 49. We need to do 49 plus 49, and we get 98. And the square root of 98, the distance is about 9.9, because it's very close to 100. So there is another example. Let me do one more with you, and then you have a try. So the square root of x minus x squared plus y minus y. So you notice it's minus a negative 1 squared. Negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. Negative 2 minus negative 1, there's two negatives, is negative 1. Negative 7 squared is 49. Negative 1 squared is 1. Square root of 50. And then the square root of 50 is about 7.1. Alright? So here's your try. Find the distance between 5 and 10 and 10, 5. Using everything I've shown you, plug it in. You subtract, you square it. And then at the end of this, before you get your next thing, you're going to have to show the two you tries are correct before I'll give you the next thing. Alright? So now let's practice the midpoint. Find the midpoint of AB, and here's the formula again for midpoint. It's x plus x divided by 2, so the averages of the x and the averages of the y. Again, you label your x and y, and then you just plug them in. So x plus x would be 2 plus 0, and y plus y is 4 plus 6. You're just plugging them in. 2 plus 0 is 2, so 2 over 2. 4 plus 6 is 10, so this would be 10 over 2. And then you simplify if you can. 2 over 2 is 1. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So the midpoint is just the point 1, 5. Example B, x plus x, and then y plus y. Negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus negative 1 is negative 3 over 2. Now we divide. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Negative 3 divided by 2 is negative 1.5. And it's okay if you have a decimal. It's okay if you have a decimal. You can find that on a number line. So this one is negative 1, negative 1.5. Right, copy these. Oh, got somebody's here. So we're finding the midpoint. So we want to do x plus x, negative 3 plus negative 5. And then we want to do y plus y, 6 plus 0. Negative 3 plus negative 5 is negative 8 over 2. 6 plus 0 is 6 over 2. Now you simplify. Negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And there you go. There's your answer. Negative 4, 3. Example D, you have 2 points, A and B. So again, we're finding the midpoint. Negative 2 plus negative 6 is your x value. And 4 plus 8 are your y values. Remember, x, y, x, y. Now you simplify. Negative 2 plus negative 6 is negative 8 again. 4 plus 8 is 12. And then remember you have to divide by 2 because you're trying to find the average, the middle. So negative 4 and 6. And there is your midpoint. So here's a U try. Point A is negative 1, 5. Point B is 3, 0. You need to do the U try. And then when you finished all of these and you have your 2 U tries, raise your hand. I'll check your U tries. And if you got them both correct, then I will give you your classwork to complete.